Okay, so where do we go now? You're not happy with the process, and you say there's other councillors that aren't happy with the process, but really, what can you do if they hold the balance of power?
Well, I'm not going to pull any punches. I think they know where I'm going to go. I think that when it comes to council for approving these closed minutes and open minutes, I will stand up and say I do not approve of the closed council minutes because they're not reflecting council views on how things should happen. And that's all I have to say, and I will ask for a recorded vote and let them stand up and be counted. And then it's up to you guys to dig in there and find out what went wrong.
Will you call in a closed meeting investigator again?
No, I've been in contact with him a few times in the last week. Everything was, and then again, I mean, we reviewed his report, and he was totally under the understanding that this thing had to go back to open council. After I spoke to him,
Mr. Fournier?
Yes, and he's been very, very cooperative and given advice.
Andre, do you think that certain people in this picture just don't care because they know there's no teeth to Mr. Fournier? All he can do is go bad, bad, and this is how you probably should do it?
Well, I think you're right. I think Mr. Fournier does, and he explained it to me again. You know, he doesn't have the teeth. When I indicated to him that they were going to a solicitor to review my request, his comment was, "There's not much I can do with that one, because so, he doesn't have the power."
Is that why the public maybe isn't getting as involved, because they maybe realize that there's just no teeth and there's nothing they can do?
Jamie, you just can't stand back. You have to stand up and be counted sometimes. You know, people have to stand up there and demand with a petition of 5,000 names, municipal affairs, to take a look at this thing, because this council is not being given all the information. And I think that, as I told you, there's 3 other councillors and I spoke to and said, let them come, because, they're tired of this. They're tired of this.
Why don't you think they speak up where you do?
I don't know. I can't talk to them. I think that if sometimes they're scared when you do an interview. You throw in a sizzler at us. I will say there's no comment. Other people get a little taken back by it. So I think it's one of those things that to each their own. But I can guarantee you that there is at least 4 other people out there that are not in favor of this.
Could there be people that are just scared of retribution? Scared of being called into somebody's office and dressed down?
Well,
or dressed down in an in-camera meeting?
Well,
or by other media.
I mean, dressed down, and you ever been called to the mayor's office before? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've been accused of a lot of things. I've been accused of being too honest. So I think that's something that I'm proud of. Not
too many politicians get accused of being too honest.
Well, the bottom line is I pride myself in the last 11 years working this way, work for the community, and I'm not running, so this is not a political spin here.
You've been accused by the mayor of being too honest?
Well, it was an off-the-record conversation. It wasn't a, but it was.
But isn't there a certain irony there? Yeah. Shouldn't the whole quality, shouldn't you want the opposite quality? Shouldn't you want honesty in a politician?
Well, maybe, maybe I took it as, but he might have said it as a joke or something. I really don't know, but I mean, it was said to me, so I look at that as...
What was your response? Do you recall?
I just laugh. I mean, I said, so be it. That's the bottom line. I mean, that's who I am. And he knows who I am. He knows he won't have to go looking for what Andre has to say to him.
There's a certain irony there, because City Hall hasn't been entirely honest with the public or the media in the past number of months. Leading up to and after the Diane Shea, Marie-Anne Pilo, Julie Johnson,
there's
Robert Manoa,
history of lying, straight out
Paul Fitzpatrick, Denise Jelena.
Well,
there's a lot of misinformation, misdirection.
Well, bottom line is it open? No, I wouldn't say that, Jimmy. I think it's somebody, not doing their job. I don't know, but I have a problem when somebody don't send out information to the press on issues once, twice, okay, 3, 4. I got a problem.
While we're talking about the press, do you think that there's an onus on us in the media to bring more of this type of thing to light and to put pressure on City Hall to be more transparent and more honest with the public?
I think you're totally right, Jim. I think that's part of your job, is to try to get keep the people informed. Because I can tell you that transparency at City Hall is, as far as I'm concerned, it's not a priority. You know, and I think that the taxpayers should be told everything that's going on, and I think this, and that's the reason why, you know, that's what frustrates me. Everybody's being perceived as being part of the clique. Well, I can tell you that it's not all of them. You know, I think there's some of them. You know, it's not all of them. I think that you know, again, these people have to make a decision on themselves, and they do what they like to do. And I said before, it's their prerogative. But the bottom line is, I have to get up every morning, look in the mirror, and say, I done my.
Well, it's also their political futures. I know our media outlet is holding many of them accountable, and you know, when the next election rolls around, there are going to be questions asked by the public and by media that they're not going to have good answers for. Why did you sit back in silence and say nothing while some of these things were going on?
Okay, you're going to find out that I think that the majority council won't be working next time.
Yeah.
You know?
But you want the public to hold council accountable, but if administration can't even follow very basic rules under a municipal act of calling notice for a public meeting, which is not intended for the media, it's for the public, for everybody. The media is considered part of the public.
And that was an open council meeting.
If the public doesn't know when the meeting's being held, and just by extension the media doesn't know when the meeting's going to be held, how can people hold their council accountable?
That's a good question. You know, I think it's important. I think it goes back to the leader. The leader has to make sure the council has the information. The leader has to make sure that this stuff can be done, and transparency, as transparent as it can be. You know, and I read the various thing to the office, to the freeholder on the issue. You know, I was raked over the coals for saying the buck stops at his desk, and yet he's using this in one of his own articles. So,
are you? I just want to clarify. You're saying that the public not being notified of these public meetings is essentially the fault of the mayor?
Well, let's put it this way.
That's where the buck stops?
Well, no. What I'm saying is if the clerk forgets once to go out, well, then the CAO and the mayor should make sure that they let her know that this is not acceptable, and this is not something to slip away. This is one of the major duties of the clerk.
Some people have suggested that it wasn't an error on the clerk's part, that for whatever reason, City Hall didn't want these meetings being publicized.
Jamie, I can tell you as councillors, and I can tell you as all councillors around the table, they were not happy with this being done.
Now, let me ask you a question. When I showed up at the last secret meeting, I know if I was a councillor and I was asked to attend a meeting on a Monday afternoon, which is irregular, and we've had 4, 5, 6, 7 secret meetings, when I walked in, I would ask, was the public notified? Personally, just me. And then if the answer wasn't given properly, then I might react by doing a Leslie O'Shaughnessy and walking out. The councillors as a group did seem very nonplussed at the fact that the public wasn't notified, like they knew.
Well, Jane, first of all, I mean, when we have meetings, we have piles of paperwork to go through and everything else. And that's not an excuse. The excuse, the thing, and it's been told, you know, it's been, how do I say, the mayor knows about this, the frustration of council, and it's his job, through the CAO, to make sure this thing doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. And it's happened 4 or 5 times. It's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. As a councillor, what can I do? Nothing. It's got to be one of those things that come down, and I can't here's where micromanaging comes in. I can't go to anyone and say, you got to do this, you got to, no. You got to go through Mr. Fitzpatrick if you were looking for direct action. And that's what it is.
So, let me throw this at you then. What kind of a democracy does the public have here in Cornwall when they don't even get notified about meetings that are being held on very key decisions that are costing them lots of money? What kind of democracy do we have at City Hall? Can you describe it?
Well, I think it's just democracy. I think it's.
Is it a healthy democracy?
The way things have been happening, it's how to say, it's an accident waiting to happen. I think it's you know, if people get up in arms and start demanding stuff, it's only because what they should have got, they never received. So therefore, do I believe that the taxpayers of Cornwall should be more vocal in making sure that they are aware of what they're spending, they are aware, never mind about all these secret, or I should say, meetings, not meetings, because the meetings are not secret as far as we're concerned. If the meeting you didn't receive the information, it's not because the council didn't want to give it to you. That's what we pay big bucks to administration for, to make sure that stuff's out there.
Yeah, let me throw this at you. Do we even have a democracy in Cornwall City Hall?
Oh, you have a democracy, yeah. So I think it's there's some.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no. There's
what you're doing here is very democratic, but
yeah. Well, yeah, but that's, you know, I can't talk to the other councillors. I don't mean, you know, don't be surprised that you want to see something. It's Monday night when I asked to this approved the closed council meeting, and I'm going to stand up, and it's not to be smart. That's the only place I can get it done because they didn't allow me to do what I wanted to do. So when I asked for a recorded vote, count the votes, and you'll find out exactly what's going on.
I can tell you that I called some of the councillors this weekend about some of these subjects, and not one of them returned the phone call, and it's now Wednesday morning.
Well, let me talk to you about that after, because I'll tell you the way the question was asked.
Yep.
Okay.
So, do you think that the details of the agreement with Paul's retirement agreement, should be public? The public dollars, he's working for the city, which is working for the ratepayers. Should that be public?
As we speak, can't be public because it was signed, but it was confidentiality clauses in it. Should we decide that we don't want confidentiality clauses? And all these things, as I said before on my last interview, yeah, I believe that it's taxpayers' dollars, and you know, you shouldn't be putting in confidentiality clauses what you're giving of tax dollars.
But would that even stick if it was done at a secret meeting?
It's not a secret meeting. I know where you come from, James, but this is not. It's, as councillor is concerned, it's not a secret meeting. This is.
The public wasn't notified.
There's so much. I can tell you that the councillor who spoke with municipal affairs yesterday was very discouraged because it's his first crack at this, and he wasn't impressed.
There's a question of whether or not, and if you look in the Municipal Act, there is a question, and if you hold a meeting with proper notice, without proper notice, whether or not that's even a legitimate meeting, a bona fide council meeting.
Yeah, no. I've spoken with the.
If you discuss something that's not at a meeting, it's not a bona fide council meeting, technically, is that legal? Can it actually be law, or is it going to be? Could it be challenged in court and thrown out?
Well, you know, and you got a good question there. I really don't know because I've done what I could to try to find out whether or not it was illegal, not illegal, whether or not it should have been done a different way to let the public know. I was told by the investigator who done the first investigation that they're using this in a way that they can do what they want to do. So then I'm hearing from our legal counsel saying that from Denise saying, well, everything is done according to our legal counsel. We did it right.
So is this kind of the way they're doing things, kind of in a gray area? Is this trying to find loopholes to avoid going through the proper process?
Personally, myself, I think it's a gray area, and I personally myself is.
Well, and we don't
walking a fine line, I think.
We don't know what questions Denise spoke to about the legal counsel before she spoke to you. So if she's telling you, might not be accurate.
I know. I got to take it. It's like everything else. We pay them good money. We're hoping they're getting good information.
When I spoke to the municipal board in Toronto, I was told clearly that the only action that could come out of a secret meeting is that any decisions that were made could be challenged in court and they should be shot down.
Well, then, if that's the case, I mean. But I'm telling you that we're being told that they've done everything right. So, I mean, it's something to challenge.
But Andre, if they've done everything right, why are we sitting here talking about this today? Obviously they haven't. Well,
it's because I don't feel they have, but that's my own personal opinion. I can't talk to the rest of the rest of council. And again, you call municipal affairs, they're going to tell you the majority of council voted this, you better go back and talk to your council. So there's nothing you can do. And I think municipal affairs is
Do you recall
is
the
not
vote?
doing the work they should be doing. as far as I'm
Do you
concerned.
recall the vote on this question?
On this question?
On Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Oh, no, because it wasn't recorded, I don't know.
Is
But I wasn't alone, that's what you mean.
is there a chance that if there is a change in council, or even with Denise leaving and Paul leaving, that council members could finally open up to the public and give them a better idea of what's really been going on?
Well, I think many councillors around the table would love to do that. They'd love to be able to say something and then deal with it. As one of the things, as I spoke to you earlier, as far as I'm concerned, one of the councillors said, listen.
Do you think they're due answers, the public? Sorry.
They what?
Is the public due answers?
Definitely are.
And sorry, you're saying one of the councillors was saying?
Well, you know, one of the councillors is saying, you know, I've always been a straight shooter and I'm not going to try to curve now.